My name is Karl Lewis. I'm an assistant professor in the Meinig School of Biomedical Engineering at Cornell University. So my lab focuses on developing intravital imaging techniques for studying musculoskeletal mechanobiology. Presently, we have an emphasis on osteocyte mechanobiology. We basically use in vivo fluorescent techniques to observe calcium signaling and interrogate ways in which calcium signaling is used to encode mechanical force into biological responses. I went to my first Sun Valley workshop as a PhD student in my third or fourth year, and it was a really pivotal point for me professionally. One benefit of going to the workshop was being able to meet leaders in the field in a pretty low stakes environment. A lot of times at the ORS annual meeting, there are thousands of people there. Folks are struggling to network with folks that they know, let alone meet new people, just because there are so many hours in a day. At the Sun Valley workshop, there seems to be a lot more space in the schedule and over the course of the workshop to actually sit down and talk with folks, get some feedback about the work that you're doing, network and get some guidance and insight into what you could be doing moving forward. So as a trainee, it was hugely beneficial in that way. The Sun Valley workshop had a pretty profound effect on my career, as a matter of fact. I got to meet two mentors who I'm still close with to this day at the Sun Valley meeting. One was David Burr, who I'd met prior, but I got to actually spend time with him at the Sun Valley workshop. And the other was someone that I hadn't met before, Alex Roebling, who ended up being my postdoc advisor. We were put together through a mentor-mentee match program that was set up for the workshop. We got to talking about our research interests and immediately hit it off. And I actually got an offer from Alex not long after that. I think the musculoskeletal biology workshop would be beneficial for a number of somewhat niche groups within the ORS community at large. First of all, those who are at transition points within their careers or looking to make a jump from either graduate student to postdoc or postdoc to faculty member, this particular workshop and style of workshop is really advantageous, again, in that we get access to folks at a larger time scale than we normally would. And so meeting people, getting a feel for their working style, their interests, even getting insight into other departments that you might be interested in becomes much more accessible. In addition to that, folks who are studying somewhat niche topics within the ORS would gain a platform for discussing their work and exposing folks within the ORS to their work in a longer format, which is hugely beneficial. A 7-minute talk is great. We all love presenting at the ORS, but a 30-minute talk followed by a Q&A where in-depth conversation can occur among experts in the field is a great way to expose people to particularly new ideas and a great way to actually advance those new ideas within the field. The casual arrangement of the scientific sessions at the Musculoskeletal Biology Workshop are really fertile ground for developing ideas. For that reason, anyone within the ORS community who is working on a potentially new topic or advancing the field in some way will find a really fertile environment for sharpening their ideas, exposing experts in the field at long form to some of the things that they're working on, and potentially advancing their research in a meaningful way as a result of that experience. The Musculoskeletal Biology Workshop is particularly unique because not only the science that's present, but also the unstructured afternoons where you really get an opportunity to get to know people in your field, sometimes even their family, either going on hikes, playing volleyball, or just hanging out by the pool. It becomes a really nice opportunity for meaningful networking. There are so many wonderful things going on at this year's workshop. There are three in particular that strike my interest from a research perspective. The first is the osteocyte biology to pathophysiology session. I think that's a very interesting paradigm and a great way to think about the work that we do. The clearing session, I think, is spot on in terms of highlighting a state-of-the-art technique that's going to really change the way that we investigate morphology in musculoskeletal tissues. And then finally, and most obviously, the mechanobiology session on the last day, I think is going to be really, really fun. The Musculoskeletal Biology Workshop represents an opportunity to really get an in-depth appraisal of the cutting edge of our fields and space to develop new ideas. So anyone who's on the fence, I would really encourage them to consider going, enjoy the beautiful location, the great science, and the great people.